American Pickers: Why Frank Fritz and Mike Wolfe should not get all the credit for their deals. Fans should be aware that stars of American Pickers may not be as involved in the selection process as they appear to be on the show. There are rumors that costs are pre-negotiated or that parts of the presentation could be scripted. Celebrity Net Worth reports that despite some turbulence, the stars of American Pickers still have a substantial net worth. The cast turmoil on American Pickers has dominated most of the talk about the show over the past few months. For instance, viewers have focused on whether or not Frank Fritz would make a comeback, Danielle Colby's standing on the program, and how Frank Fritz's life has altered after his stroke. Though there are other crises centered around the show, it seems natural that viewers are deeply concerned about Frank's health problems. For instance, it appears that fans may not have given Mike and Frank enough credit for their choosing prowess. Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz of American Pickers allegedly received a lot of assistance behind the scenes. Fans of American Pickers observe that the program's stars appear to have to solve most problems on their own. Frank Fritz and Mike Wolfe have always seemed to be allowed to fend for themselves on a number of issues, other from being directed where to go. But since reality TV first became popular, people have discovered just how misleading these programs can be. For instance, some contend that the allegations that some sequences in Storage Wars were manufactured destroyed the program. Some allegations regarding American Pickers began to appear after the show aired for a number of years. Some fans are sure to be disappointed by the revelations that suggest Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz had a lot of assistance during their selection expedition that the public was unaware of. According to a source that presents American Pickers in a different perspective, a man mentioned inviting Mike and Frank to peruse his collection. In January 2018, after speaking with Go San Angelo, Ken Jeong discussed his interactions with Frank and Mike. How much does Celebrity Net Worth estimate the stars of American Pickers' original stars to be worth? Ken disclosed something that could surprise viewers of American Pickers. Someone from the show had looked over his collection weeks in advance. Ken's answer suggests that Mike and Frank were probably well informed about the collections they were looking at before they entered. Before they arrived on Monday, we had a 3-week advantage. I have no idea how they became aware of us. They possess what is known as a snoop. They entice someone to enter a location and explore. The individual who entered that day gave me his card, which included the association with the show. Then I received a call from them letting me know when they would be arriving. Positively, Ken Jeong expressed his admiration for Frank and Mike. In an interview with Go San Angelo, Ken talked about how he instantly felt like he knew the American Pickers stars. They were so kind. As soon as they walked through the door, I recognized them. They laughed and smiled, and we had the finest time, even though I have never met them in person. Rod Young, Ken's son, also told the publication how informed Mike and Frank were. The American Pickers stars were undoubtedly knowledgeable, but it does not take into account the possibility that they were provided with particular information by that advanced team. They had a great deal of information. They were so passionate about this, and I was really impressed. It is noteworthy to mention that there have been inquiries regarding the authenticity of Frank and Mike's negotiations with sellers. It would be somewhat upsetting to find that the negotiations were not what they were depicted to be, given that they are among the greatest sections of the program. For instance, one IGN commenter was referenced by Nikki Swift in a post, claiming that their father supplied merchandise to the American Pickers actors. That user claims that Mike and Frank had prearranged an agreement on the fees they would pay. Furthermore, a number of other media sources have revealed that the bartering depicted on American Pickers is fictitious. According to those publications, the price is predetermined and the actors on the show engage in a fictitious discussion to reach that figure. A few of the publications that have made such assertions include The Cinemaholic, Looper, Pure Volume, and others. It is noteworthy, nevertheless, that none of those sources quote any sources who have direct knowledge of the discussions taking place in advance. Rather, they either state things without providing any supporting data or Looper uses an article from The Cinemaholic as evidence. That assertion should be treated with caution until additional solid evidence of the pre-arrangement haggling is available. Nevertheless, in light of what Ken Jeong said, assertions that talks took place in advance should also not be discounted. Frank Fritz of American Pickers is said to have broken a deal. The stars of American Pickers may not have followed through on their agreements, even if it appears that the deals do not always turn out as planned. Frank Fritz was once accused of breaking a bargain he made, despite the fact that American Pickers portrays its stars as honoring their commitments. A lawsuit filed against Frank was covered in an article that USA Today published in October 2014. According to that report, Frank was sued by a guy called Jerry Bruce for agreeing to a transaction but later backtracking. Jerry claims in his complaint that he decided he wanted a polarimeter after witnessing Frank purchase one on an American Pickers program. Jerry says Frank agreed to sell him the polarimeter for $300 plus shipping when he contacted the American Pickers star. Jerry claims that after giving Frank a check to buy the polarimeter, it was never paid, and he never heard back from the American Pickers star. Jerry decided to sue Frank after feeling duped, saying he had incurred $7,500 in damages. The story in USA Today claims that Frank never answered Jerry's complaint in any way. Consequently, Jerry's case was settled out of court and Frank was deemed to be in default. Jerry did not receive the $7,500 that he was selling, though. Rather, Jerry was awarded $1,000 in damages and $80 in court costs against Frank. American Pickers: the untold story behind Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz's success. Fans of American Pickers might be surprised to learn that the stars, Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz, may not be as hands-on with their picking as the show suggests. There are claims that some scenes might be scripted and prices negotiated beforehand. Despite the drama, the stars of American Pickers have amassed significant net worths, according to Celebrity Net Worth. The drama behind American Pickers. In recent months, much of the conversation about American Pickers has revolved around off-screen drama. Fans have been focused on Danielle Colby's status, Frank Fritz's health following his stroke, and the possibility of his return to the show. While it's understandable that fans are concerned about Frank's health, other dramas surrounding the show indicate that Mike and Frank may not deserve as much credit for their picking skills as viewers think. Behind-the-scenes assistance. When fans watch American Pickers, it appears that Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz handle most things on their own. However, reality TV shows can be deceptive. For instance, Storage Wars faced backlash after allegations of scripted scenes. After many years on air, American Pickers faced similar claims. Reports surfaced suggesting that Mike and Frank received significant help behind the scenes, which was unknown to viewers. In a 2018 interview with Go San Angelo, Ken Jeong discussed his experience with Mike and Frank. He revealed that someone from the show inspected his collection weeks before the stars arrived. This advanced preparation likely gave Mike and Frank detailed knowledge about the collections they were about to explore. "We had a 3-week lead before they came on Monday. I'm not sure how they found out about us. They have what you call a snoop. They get somebody to go into a site and look around. The man who came in that day, he gave me his card with the show's affiliation. Then I got a phone call and they said when they would be coming." On a positive note, Ken Jeong was impressed by Mike and Frank, describing them as personable and knowledgeable. His son, Rod Jeong, echoed these sentiments, noting their passion and expertise. The truth about negotiations. Another aspect of American Pickers that has come under scrutiny is the authenticity of the negotiations. Negotiations are a highlight of the show, and it would be shocking if they were staged. An article by Nikki Swift referenced an IGN commenter who claimed their father sold items to Mike and Frank with pre-agreed prices. Several other outlets, including Pure Volume, Looper, and a Cinemaholic, have reported similar claims. These outlets suggest that the haggling seen on American Pickers is often staged, with prices settled beforehand. However, these claims should be taken with caution. Many of these sources do not cite first-hand accounts, and until more definitive proof emerges, the allegations remain speculative. Nonetheless, Ken Jeong's revelations lend some credence to the possibility of prearranged deals. Frank Fritz's alleged broken deal. Even if the show's deals don't unfold as portrayed, the stars usually follow through on their agreements. However, Frank Fritz was once accused of reneging on a deal. In October 2014, USA Today reported that Jerry Bruce sued Frank for failing to honor a $300 deal for a polarimeter. Jerry claimed he sent Frank a check, but it was never cashed, and he never heard from Frank again. As a result, Jerry sued for $7,500 in damages. Frank did not respond to the lawsuit, leading to a default judgment in Jerry's favor, though he was awarded only $1,080 in damages and court fees. Conclusion: while American Pickers remains popular, fans should be aware that the reality of the show may differ from what appears on screen. Allegations of scripted scenes and prearranged deals suggest that Mike Wolfe and Frank Fritz might receive more help than fans realize.